Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishram Vishnupad Ashutara Śrīmad Vishnupad Ashutara Śrīmad Śrīla Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishram Vishnupad Ashutara Śrīmad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Śrīmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Maha-Bhagavat Śrīla Gorkisharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Navagariya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patidas Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namachay Shila Haridas Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Parakta Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai. Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai. Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakraju Ki Jai. Shri Purushottam Kshetra Mandal Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. 1 second, let me just open up. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yang pravrajantamanupetamapeta krityam Dvaipayano virahakatara ajuhava Putreti tanmayataya taravo bhinedus Tang sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi Narayanam namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Shrinvatang Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantasto Yabhadrani Vidunoti Suhritsatam Nashta Prayeshvavadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayamam charanantikam bhaktya vihina aparadha lakshaya क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितराङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दं भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Haribo, Raseshwari Mataji, Indira Mataji, Gargarajji, and Kishore Prabhu. Pranams to all of you. Haribo. Wow, amazing that you're still able to make it, Indira Mataji, even during the Badger Festival, the New Braj Festival, I mean. All right, so let's see, what did we read yesterday, or day before yes? No, a few days ago. Let's get a little brief catch up. Baby on a banyan leaf. Okay. So, okay. So at Shaunak Rishi's request, Sutta Goswami described how the intelligent disciples of Srila Vyasadeva segregated and transmitted the Vedas. The transcendental sound vibration of Omkar first appeared in Brahma's heart. From that Omkar, Brahma created all the sounds. With these sounds, he produced the composite Vedas and taught them to his sons, the sages, who further propagated them. The parampara of the Vedas continues in all the 4 yugas by oral reception. At the end of each Dwapar Yuga, the Vedas are segregated into separate divisions by eminent sages for ensuring the accessibility by the people of diminishing intelligence and lifespans. In this Manvantar, the Supreme Lord appeared as Krishna Dvaipayan Vyas and divided the Vedas into 4 divisions, and composed other literatures as well, which included the Puranas. He then gave each of these 4 Samhitas to 4 of his disciples, Rigveda to Paila, Yajurveda to Vaishampayan, Samaveda to Jaimini Rishi, Atharva Veda to Sumantu Rishi, and the Puranas to Romaharshan. These disciples further divided them and entrusted to their disciples for further transmission. The great Puranas deal with 10 topics as described in the 2nd canto, while lesser Puranas may deal with 5 topics. There are 18 major Puranas, namely the Brahma Purana, Padma, Vishnu, Shiva, Linga, Garuda, Narada, Bhagavata, Agni, Skanda, Bhavishya, Brahma Vivarta, Markandeya, Vamana, Varaha, Matsya, Kurma, and Brahmanda Puranas. So see, among these different Puranas, one of them is Markandeya. So hearing about the Markandeya Purana, Shaunak asked Sutta about Markandeya Rishi, who survived in the water of annihilation and saw the Supreme Lord on a banyan leaf. Sutta Goswami gladly narrated as follows. One second, just want to make sure I read more. Markandeya Rishi, the author of the Markandeya Purana, appeared in the clan of Bhrigu Rishi. Remaining as a celibate, he strictly studied under his guru and worshipped the Supreme Lord with austerities for 6 long manvantars. During the 7th manvantar, Indra, being afraid of his austerities, sent Cupid to distract him. But Cupid, along with his singers, dancing girls, spring, breezes, greed, and intoxication personified, they could not agitate the mind of Markandeya. To bestow mercy on Markandeya, the Supreme Lord appeared before him in the forms of Nara and Narayan. Markandeya exhibited ecstatic symptoms upon seeing them and offered heartfelt prayers. Satisfied by Markandeya's austerities, long celibacy, and study of the Vedas, Lord Narayan told him to ask for a benediction. Markandeya said, "O Lord, I am fully satisfied seeing you. Still, I desire to see how your Maya bewilders the world." Markandeya certainly had no desire to enjoy sense gratification and Maya, yet he was curious. The Lord didn't very much appreciate such a curiosity in his devotee. Yet, to fulfill Markandeya's desire, he granted the benediction with a smile and departed. Let's see, where did we actually read up to last time? Haribo. Yeah, I know, Dura Mataji. Okay. Haribo Surevi Didi. Dandavat Pranam. Okay, so let's see. Oh no, it's not this. What have we been using? Oh yeah, we've been using PDF Expert. Here. Don't like white. There. Okay. How did the last verse end? Okay, so these are Markandeya's prayers. Okay, so the last prayer of Markandeya Rishi is, knowledge of the Lord is revealed in the Vedas, but indirectly. Even the great sages headed by Brahma, though endeavoring to understand the Lord, are bewildered about the Lord by studying the Vedas. I offer respects to the great Lord who is conceived differently by various philosophies presented in the Vedas, whose real nature is hidden, who is understood only by himself. Now, Markandeya sees Pralaya. One second, just drinking some water. Sutta Uvacha Sangstuto Bhagavan Itang Markandeyena Dhimata Narayano Narasakha Prita Aha Brigudvaham. Sutta Goswami said, the Supreme Lord Narayana, the friend of Nara, was satisfied by the glorification offered by the intelligent sage Markandeya, the excellent descendant of Bhrigu. Sārārtha-darśinī commentary by Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. The 9th chapter describes how Markandeya, saddened by seeing Maya, enters within the abdomen of a child lying on a banyan leaf, comes out again, and then falls into the ocean of devastation. Trippy. Okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bho Bho Brahmar Shivaryosi Siddha Atma Samadhina Mayi Bhaktya Napayinya Tapasvadhyaya Samyamai. The Supreme Lord said, my dear Markandeya, you are the best of all learned Brahmanas. You have perfected your life by practicing fixed meditation, by undeviating bhakti to me, along with austerities, study of the Vedas, and adherence to regulative principles. Vayam tad paritushtasma tvad brihad vratacharyaya varam praticha bhadram te varadosmi tvar ipsitam. We are completely satisfied with your practice of lifelong celibacy. Please choose whatever benediction you desire, since I can grant your wish. May you enjoy all good fortune. Sārārtha-darśinī. The plural we is used because later it will be seen that Shiva and Uma were also pleased. Shirishir Uvacha Jitang te deva devesha prapanarti harachuta vare naitavatalangno yarbhavan samadrishyata. The sage said, O Lord of Lords, you have all excellent qualities. O Lord Achyuta, remover of all distress for the surrendered, That I have seen you is enough of a benediction. Sārārtha-darśinī. Jittam te means you have all excellent qualities. Grihitva jadayo yasya Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam manasa yoga pankvena. Once again. Sabhavan mekshigochara. Such devatas as Lord Brahma achieve success by seeing your lotus feet in their minds by mature yoga practice. And now, my Lord, you have appeared before my eyes. Sārārtha-darśinī. Having seen your lotus feet, Brahma and others became successful. The verb bhavati should be supplied. Atapyam bhuja patraksha punya shloka shikamane drakshe mayam yaya loka sapalo vedasadbhidam. O lotus-eyed Lord, O crest jewel of renowned persons, I wish to see your illusory potency, by whose influence the entire world, together with the devatas, know the various effects arising from Prakriti. Sārārtha-darśinī. I desire to see drakshe. Sadbhidam means the various effects arising from the cause. Sat. Or it can mean the destruction of the existing worlds. I wonder if that's why you see, because it has double meaning, that's why you got to see the Pralaya. Sutta uvacha iti ditorchita kamam rishina bhagavan mune tateti sasmayam pragar padaryashramamishvara. Sutta Goswami said, O wise Shonaka, thus satisfied by Markandeya's praise and worship, the Supreme Lord, smiling, replied, So be it, and then departed for his hermitage at Badrikashram. Sārārtha-darśinī. The Lord smiled. Seeing Maya is only a cause of experiencing grief. If you want that, then I'll give it, since I must give you a boon. You must realize, I do not like this experience of seeing Maya. Otherwise, your desire to experience it will not go away. Therefore, by experiencing its suffering, you will give it up. It is like a father who orders his son to give up some action which the stubborn son does, even though the act will cause the son suffering. For his devotee, the Lord would not only make the devotee give up the desire, but would also give the devotee bliss by showing his baby form within the experience of suffering. Thus the Lord smiled. Just checking the comments, 1 second. Okay. Tam eva chintayam artham rishi swashrama eva sa vasan agnarkasam vasan agnarkasomambu bhuvayu vyad atmasu dhyayan sarvatra chaharing bhavadravyar apujayat kvachit pujam visasmara prema prasara sampluta. Thinking always of his desire to see the Lord's illusory energy, the sage remained in his ashram, meditating constantly upon the Lord within fire, the sun, the moon, water, the earth, air, lightning, and his own heart, and worshipping him with paraphernalia conceived in his mind. But sometimes, overwhelmed by waves of love for the Lord, Markandeya would forget to perform his regular worship. Sārārtha-darśinī. He thought of seeing Maya. Bhava Dravyai means with articles produced in the mind. Tasyai kada brigo shreshta Pushpa bhadra tate mune upasenasya sandhyayam brahman vayur abhun mahan. O Brahman Shonaka, O best of the Brigus, one day, while Markandeya was performing his evening worship on the bank of the Pushpa-bhadra, a great wind suddenly began to blow. Sārārtha-darśinī. Now the display of Maya begins. Tam chanda shabdam samudirayantam palahaka anvabhavan karala akshastavishta mumuchustadidbhi swanantad uchar abhivarshadhara. That wind created a terrible sound. After that, fearsome, thick clouds appeared, accompanied by lightning and roaring thunder, and torrents of rain as heavy as a chariot wheels poured down on all sides. Sārārtha-darśinī. The torrents were as heavy as wheels of a chariot. Wow, that's really intense. Tato vyadrishyanta chatu samudra samantatakshma talamagrasanta samira vegor mibhirugranakra mahabhayavarta gabhira goshaha. Then the four great oceans filled with crocodiles, fearful whirlpools, and ominous rumblings appeared on all sides, swallowing up the surface of the earth with their wind-tossed waves. Wow, so intense. Antar bahischarbir ati dubikarai shatahradabhir upatapitam jagat chaturvidam viksha samatmana munir jala plutam kshmam Jala plutam kshmam vimana samatrasat. The sage saw all the inhabitants of the universe, including himself, tormented within and without by the harsh rays of the sun, bolts of lightning, and great waves rising beyond the sky. As the whole earth flooded, he grew perplexed and fearful. Sārārtha-darśinī. Ati dubhi adbhi means by water reaching the sky, to the sky. Karai means by the sun's harsh rays. Satahradabhi means by lightning. The long a in Shatahradabhi is poetic license. Tasyaivam udvikshata urmi bhishana prabhanjana gurnitavar maharnava apuryamano varasharbhiram budai kshmam apyadhardvipa varshadribhi samam. While Markandeya watched, the rain pouring down from the clouds filled the ocean more and more, until that great sea, its waters violently whipped into terrifying waves by hurricanes, covered up all the earth's islands, mountains, and continents. Sakshmang tariksham sadivam sabhaganam trailokyamasit sahadigbhiraplutam sa eka evor varito mahamunir pabhrama vikshipya jata jarandavat. The water inundated the earth, outer space, heaven, all the planets, and the three worlds in all directions. Only Markandeya remained. His matted hair scattered, the great sage wandered about alone in the water, as if dumb and blind. Sārārtha-darśinī. Sabha-ganam means with the planets. Kshutrit parito makaraistimingala kilar upadruto vichina bhasvatahata tamasya pare patito brahmam disho navedakam gam cha parishrameshita. Having fallen into insurmountable darkness, tormented by hunger and thirst, attacked by monstrous makaras and timingila fish, and battered by the wind and waves, he moved aimlessly. As he grew increasingly exhausted, he lost all sense of direction and could not tell the sky from the earth. Geez, that must be so intense, being attacked by monstrous makaras and timingila fish. And how do you lose all sense of direction? Like, you can't tell the sky apart from the earth. That's like really discombobulated.
Have you ever been caught in the surf and crashed in a big wave?
No.
It's like that.
Okay.
Continuously.
Sārārtha-darśinī. He was beaten by the wind with waves. Ishita means attained. It comes from the root ish, meaning to go. I read this Sanskrit, right? Yes, I did. Right? And Namataji will let me know if I didn't read it. Okay. Krachin magno mahavarte taralaistardita kvachit yadobhir pakshate kvapi swayam anyonya ghatibhi kvachit chokam kvachin moham kvachit dukam sukam bhayam kvachin mrityum avapnoti vyadhyadibhir utarditaha. At times he was engulfed by the great whirlpools. Sometimes he was beaten by the mighty waves, and at other times the aquatic monsters threatened to devour him as they attacked one another. Sometimes he felt lamentation, bewilderment, misery, happiness, or fear. Happiness. Okay. And at other times he experienced such terrible pains that he felt himself dying. Man. And this wasn't just going on for like a few years. This is going on for countless millions of years past. Oh my God. Well, I knew we're going to get to that verse. Let me just check the comments really quick. Okay. Ayutayatta varshanam sahasrani shatani cha vyatiyur brahmatastasmin vishnu maya vritatmana. Countless millions of years passed as Markandeya wandered about in that deluge, his mind bewildered by the illusory energy of Lord Vishnu. Can you imagine countless millions of years without any relief, just being tossed about by these waves and all these creatures trying to attack you and never... Oh God. Intense. Sa kadachit brahmangstasmin pritivya kakudi dvija nyagroda putam dadrishe falapallavashobhitam. Imagine the regret Markandeya had from requesting to see the Lord's Maya. Once, while wandering in the water, the Brahmana Markandeya saw a small island, upon which stood a young banyan tree, radiant with leaves and fruits. Sārārtha-darśinī. Kakudi means on a raised area. Prag utarasyam shakayam tasyapi dadrishe shishum shayanam parnaputake grasantang prabhayatama. Upon a branch of the northeast portion of that tree, he saw lying on a leaf an infant boy whose effulgence swallowed up the darkness. Mahamarakata shyamam Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Kambugriva mahoraskam Sunasam sundara bhruvam Shvashaijar alaka bhatam Kambu Shri Karnadadimam Vidrumadhara bhaseshach Chonayita sudhasmitam Parmagarbhanuru. Sorry, that's too big for me. Parmagarbharunapangam Hridyahasavalokanam Shvasaijar valisamvigna Nimnanabhidalodaram Charvangulibhyam panibhyam Unniya charanam bhujam Mukhe nidhaya viprendro Dhyantam viksha Dhyantam viksha vismita. The infant's dark blue complexion was the color of a flawless emerald. His lotus face shone with a wealth of beauty, and his throat bore marks like the lines on a conch shell. He had a broad chest, a finely shaped nose, beautiful eyebrows, and lovely ears that had inner folds like a conch shell's spirals and decorations of pomegranate flowers. The corners of his eyes were reddish like the whorl of a lotus, and the effulgence of his coral-like lips slightly reddened the sweet, enchanting smile on his face. As he breathed, his splendid hair trembled, and his deep navel moved about along with the deep folds of skin on his abdomen, which was shaped like a banyan leaf. The exalted Brahmana watched with amazement as the infant placed a toe within his mouth and began to suck. Ah, sweet. Okay, Sārārtha-darśinī. Second. Hare Krishna Shasharmaji. Okay, I'm good. I didn't skip any verse. Thanks. Indira Mataji. Okay, Sārārtha-darśinī. He looked splendid with locks of hair that were trembling because of his breathing. He had pomegranate flowers decorating his ears, and his ear folds had the beauty of conches. His abdomen was shaped like a banyan leaf with a deep navel which quivered, and with deep horizontal skin folds which trembled when he breathed. He held his toe and sucked it, thinking, "What is the sweetness of my lotus foot? Since many of my devotees attempt to taste that sweetness, I should also try to taste it." Tadarşanarvita parishramo muda Protpula hritparma vilochanam buja Asprahrishtaromar bhutabhava shankita Prashtum purastam prasasara balakam. From seeing the child, all his wariness vanished. Because of joy, the lotus of his heart, along with his lotus eyes, fully blossomed, and the hairs on his body stood on end. Okay, his lotus eyes and his lotus heart fully blossomed, and the hairs on his body stood on end. Sorry. Confused as to the identity of the wonderful infant, the sage approached him to ask. Sārārtha-darśinī. He had a doubt about that astonishing form. It could not be an ordinary child, so he approached to ask. Tavach chishor vaishvasitena bhargava Santa shariram ashako yata vishat. Tatrapyado nyastam achashta kritsnasho yatha puram muhyad ativa vismita. At that moment, the child, by inhaling, drew Markandeya with his body. Sorry. The child, by inhaling, drew Markandeya within his body like a mosquito. There, the sage found the entire universe arrayed as it had been before its dissolution. Seeing this, Markandeya was most astonished and perplexed. Sārārtha-darśinī. Adha means the universe. He saw everything as it was before the devastation, Ṭhākura. Kamrodasi bhaganam adrisagaran dvipan savarsham kakubha suran vanani teshan sarita purakaran ketan vrajan ashramavarna vrittaya mahanti bhutanyata bhautikānyaso kalam chanana yuga kalpa kalpanam yat kinchid anyad vyavahara karanam tadarsha vishvam sarivava bhasitam. The sage saw the entire universe, the sky, the heavens, the earth, the stars, the mountains, the oceans, the great islands, the continents, the directions, the saintly and demoniac living beings, the forests, the countries, the rivers, the cities, the mines, the agricultural villages, the cow pastures, and the occupational and spiritual activities of the various social divisions. He also saw the basic elements of creation, along with all their byproducts, as well as time itself, which regulates the progression of countless ages within the days of Brahma. In addition, he saw everything else created for use in material life. He saw in daylight a bright world. Sārārtha-darśinī. He saw a bright world of abhasitam in daylight. Diva for divisa. Himalayam pushpa vaham chatam nadim nijashramam yatra rishi apashyata vishvam vipashyan chvasitach chishorvai bahir nirasto nyapatalayabdho. He saw before him the Himalaya mountains, the Pushpa-bhadra river, and his own hermitage where he had the audience of the sages, Narayan. Then, as Markandeya beheld the entire universe, the infant exhaled, expelling the sage and casting him back into the ocean of dissolution. Sārārtha-darśinī. Pushpavaha means the Pushpa-bhadra river. Tasmin prativya kakudi prarudham vartam chatat parna pute shayanam tokam chatat prema sudhasmitena nirikshito panga nirikshanena atatam balakam viksha netrabhyam dhishtitam hridi abhyayad ati sanklishta parishvaktum adhokshajam. In that vast sea, he again saw the banyan tree growing on a tiny island and the infant boy lying within the leaf. The child glanced at him from the corner of his eyes with a smile imbued with the nectar of prem, and Markandeya took him into his heart through his eyes. Greatly agitated, the sage ran to embrace the transcendental Lord. Tavatsa Bhagavan Shakshar yogadhisho guhashaya antardadarishe sadhyo yateha nisha nirmita. At that moment, the Supreme Lord, who is the original master of all powers of yoga, and who is hidden within everyone's heart, became invisible to the sage, just as the poor man's desire for wealth and other things comes and goes. Sārārtha-darśinī. Again thrown into the ocean, he wandered about for millions of years, experiencing hardship, and then he saw the child on the banyan leaf on the upraised portion of the earth. The Lord bestowed upon him a glance, endowed with a smile of prema which was like nectar. Again he entered the body of the Lord when the Lord inhaled. It should be understood from later statements that he went in and came out 7 times. Whoa! And then there's a footnote here. It says, there does not seem to be a direct statement to that effect in the later text. Anyhow, I trust Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. So if he says he came in and out 7 times, that's what happened. That is really trippy. The Lord then became invisible, just as desire for wealth and other things of a poor man comes and goes according to the circumstances. Okay, so this is the last verse of this chapter. Tamanvata vato brahman salilam loka samplava tirodhai kshanarasya swashrame purvavat stitaha. O Brahmana, after the Lord disappeared, the banyan tree, the water, and the dissolution of the universe all vanished as well. And in an instant, Markandeya found himself back in his own hermitage, just as before. Sārārtha-darśinī. Within one instant of time, 7 kalpas of time, that means 7 dissolutions, had been contracted by the inconceivable energy of the Lord. Tirodhai is a reflexive verb in what's aorist tense? Have you ever seen that word? A-O-R-I-S-T, aorist tense.
I don't know how to say it. Orist?
Orist?
Orative? Orist.
Orative tense. Okay. Thus ends the commentary on the 9th chapter of the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam, for the pleasure of the devotees, in accordance with the previous acharyas. Alright, I'm going to read a little bit of this chapter 4. Here, you want to see how much we have left to read? Let's check this out. So, we just read chapter 9. Chapter 10's short, it's only 2,604 words. How long is chapter 11? Okay, so we'll read a bit of 10, and then we'll read a bit of 11, and then we'll finish 10 tomorrow and a bit of 11. And then 12, chapter 12 is not too long. I think we could read that in a day. And chapter 13 is also, it's only 3,000 words. Wow. So we're going to finish in 3 more days after this. That's awesome. Then we'll begin our Golden Volcano of Divine Love. Okay. Yeah, that was an intense experience. Haribol, Ganga Mataji, and Rasa Keli. Radhe Radhe. Okay, so let's go back. Let's read a little bit of this chapter 10. Markandeya meets Śiva. Sutta uvacha sa evam anubhuyedam narayana vinirmitam vaibhavam yogamayayas tam eva sharanam yayo. Sutta Goswami said, Markandeya, having experienced a powerful display of Yogamaya arranged by the Lord, took shelter of him. Sārārtha-darśinī. The 10th chapter describes Markandeya meeting with Śiva and Uma, his prayers to them, their pleasure at his prayers, and their bestowal of boons to him. Shri Markandeya Uvacha Prapanosmyangrimulam te Prapannabhayadang hare Yan maya yapi vibhuda Muyanti Jnanakashaya. Markandeya said, O Lord, I take shelter of your lotus feet, which bestow fearlessness upon all who surrender to them. Even the devatas are bewildered by your illusory energy, which appears to them to be real knowledge. Sārārtha-darśinī. Jnanakashaya means with an appearance of knowledge where no knowledge exists. He says, I am proof of this. Sutta Uvacha Tam evam nibratatmanam vrishena diviparyatan Rudranya Bhagavan Rudro Tadarsha Swaganarvrita. Sutta Goswami said, Shiva, traveling in the sky on his bull and accompanied by his consort, as well as his personal associates, observed Markandeya in trance. Atomatan rishim viksha girisham samabhashata pashyemang bhagavan vipram nibhritatmendriyashayam. Goddess Uma, seeing the sage, addressed Shiva, My lord, see this learned Brahmana, whose body, mind, and senses are undisturbed. Nibrito da jashavrato vatapaye yatarnava kurvasya tapasak shakshat sangsiddhim siddhodo bhavan. He is as calm as the waters of the ocean when the wind has ceased and the fish and water remain still. Therefore, my lord, since you bestow perfections, please award the sage the result of his austerities. Sārārtha-darśinī. Nibrito da jashavrata means the ocean where the water and the schools of fish are completely still. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Naive chatya shisha kvapi pramarshir mokshamapyuta Bhaktim param bhagavati labdhavan purushe vyaye. Lord Shiva replied, Surely the saintly Brahman does not desire any benediction, not even liberation, for he has attained pure devotional service unto the inexhaustible Lord. Sārārtha-darśinī. He does not want siddhis like anima. Then give him liberation. He does not want that either. Then give him bhakti. He has already attained that also. Atapi samvadishyamo pavanyetena sadhuna ayang hi paramo labho nrinam sadhu samagama. Still, Bhavani, let us talk with this saintly person. After all, association with saintly devotees is man's highest achievement. Sutta Uvacha Ityuktva tam upeyaya Bhagavan sa satam gati Ishana sarva vidyanam Ishvara sarva dehinam. Sutta Goswami said, Having spoken thus, Lord Shiva, the shelter of the devotees, master of all types of knowledge, and controller of all embodied living beings, approached the sage. Sārārtha-darśinī. Shiva is called the shelter of the devotees because he gives bhakti which they desire. He is not only the shelter of the devotees, but also of those with material desires. He is the Lord of all types of knowledge. This is not at all astonishing, since he is the Lord of all beings. He is the Ishvara. Tayor agamanam shakshad ishayor jagaratmano navedaruddhivritir atmanam vishwamevacha. Because Markandeya's material mind had stopped functioning, the sage failed to notice that Lord Shiva and his wife, the controllers of the universe, had personally come to see him. Markandeya was unaware of either himself or the external world. Sārārtha-darśinī. Not only was Markandeya unaware of Shiva, but he was unaware of himself in the sense of his identity as I, and he was unaware of the universe identified as mine. Bhagavangstad abhigyaya girisho yogamayaya avishattad guhakasham vayushchidram iveshvara. Understanding the situation, the powerful and capable Lord Shiva employed his mystic power to enter within the space within Markandeya's heart, just as the wind passes through an opening. Atmanyapi Shivam Praptam Tadit Pinga Jatadharam Trakshandasha Bhujam Prangshum Udyantam Iva Bhaskaram Vyaghra Charmam Varam Shula Dhanur Ishvasi Charmabhi Akshamala Damaruka Kapalam Parashum Saham Bibhranam Sahasa Bhatam Vichaksha Hridi Vismita Kim idam kuta eveti samadher virato muni. Markandeya saw Lord Shiva suddenly appear within his heart. Lord Shiva had golden hair resembling lightning. Interesting, Shiva has golden hair resembling lightning, which resembled lightning. He had 3 eyes, 10 arms, and a tall body that shone like the rising sun. He wore a tiger skin and carried a trident, a bow, arrows, a sword, and a shield, along with prayer beads, a damaru drum, a skull, and an axe. Astonished, the sage came out of his trance and thought, "Who is this, and where has he come from?" I love that assortment of things. Prayer beads, a damaru drum, a skull, and an axe. Okay. Netre unmilya dadrishe saganam somayagatam rudram lokaika guru nanama shirasa muni. Opening his eyes, the sage saw Shiva, the guru of the 3 worlds, together with Uma and Shiva's followers. Markandeya then offered his respectful obeisances by bowing his head. Tasmai saparyam vyadadhat saganaya sahomaya swagata sanapadyarghya kandasragdhupadipikaya. Markandeya worshipped Lord Shiva along with Uma and Shiva's associates by offering them words of welcome, sitting places, water for washing their feet, arghya, sandalwood pulp, flower garlands, and lamps. Ahatvatmanubhavena purna kamasya te vibho karavama kim ishana yenedam nirvritam jagat. Markandeya said, "O mighty Lord, what can I possibly do for you, you who are fully satisfied by your own ecstasy and by whose influence this entire world becomes joyful?" Namo Shivaya Shantaya Sattvaya Pramridaya Cha Rajojushe Taghoraya Namastubhyam Tamojushe. Again and again I offer my obeisances unto you, most auspicious, peaceful, the Lord of goodness, giver of pleasure, shelter of the mode of passion, most fearful, and the shelter of the mode of ignorance. Wow, interesting pranam. Most auspicious, peaceful, the Lord of goodness, giver of pleasure, the shelter of mode of passion, most fearful, the shelter of the mode of ignorance. Sutta Uvacha. Evam stuta sa bhagavan adideva satam gati paritushta prasannatma prahasangstam abhashata. Sutta Goswami said, Lord Shiva, the foremost of devatas and the shelter of the devotees, was satisfied by Markandeya's praise. Pleased, he smiled and addressed the sage. I think this might be a good place to stop. Actually, let's read verse 19 and then we'll stop. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Varam Vrishnishvana Kamam Varadeshas Vayam Traya Amogham Darshanam Yesham Martyolyad Vindate Mritam. Lord Shiva said, Please ask from us whatever benediction you desire. Among all givers of benedictions, we three, Brahma, Vishnu, and I, are the best. Seeing us never goes in vain, and from us a mortal achieves immortality. Sārārtha-darśinī. Yat means from us. Okay, so we'll hear what else, everything else Shiva has to say tomorrow. Then drinking with his ears Lord Shiva's words, full of body and intimate teachings, Markandeya could not be satiated. Anyways, we will read from this point on tomorrow. We made it up to verse 20, okay. Alright, so now I'm going to do Jayadvani and I'll sing Jagannath Ashtakam and a little short Mahamantra. So, Jai Shishi Guru Garanga Gandhar Vikagiri Dhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Juki Jai. Nitilla Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatarashatashmar Bhakti Bhaktita Narayan Gosai Maharaj Srila Guru Deva Ki Jai. Nityalla Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatarashatashmar Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalla Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatarashatashmar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalla Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatarashatashmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalla Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatarashatashmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalla Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalla Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Nityalla Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nugagoriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Dashagunath Shar Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gora Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai. Shri Amuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai. Sārārtha-darśinī Vritti Ki Jai. Shri Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Shri Markandeya Rishi Ki Jai. What is the Lord's name who was on the banyan leaf? Anyways, Shri Vishnu Lord Narayan Ki Jai. I don't know I forgot what his name was. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Shri Shiva Parvati ki jai. Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra ki jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakraju ki jai. Shri Purushottam Kshetra ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Alright, everybody. Hari Bol Kishori Mohan Prabhu. So for anybody who wants to stay, I'm going to do Jagannath Ashtakam. Let me just get the mridanga. Okay. Let's share the screen. Bhajana tarukandam niravadi bhaje nityanandam Bhajana tarukandam niravadi. Okay, that's the meter. Okay, let's try this. Kadachit kalindi tata vipinas. Oh God, what did I just do? Bhaje nityanandam Bhajana tarukandam niravadi Jagannatha Swami Nayana patagami bhavatu me Kadachit kalendi Tata vipina sangita kavaro Mudabiri nari Vadana kamala swada madhupa Rama Shambhu Brahma Marapati Ganeshārchita pado Jagannatha Swami Nayana patagami bhavatu me Bhuje savye venum Shirasi shikripicham katitate dukulam netrante sahachara kataksham vidadate sada Śrīmad-Vrindā vanavasati lila parichayo Jagannatha Swami Nayana patagami bhavatu me Maham bodhe stire Kanakaruchire Nilashikare Vasan prasadanta Sahaja balabhadrena balina Subhadra madhyasta Sakala sura seva vasarado Jagannatha Swami Nayana patagami bhavatu me kripa paravara sajala jaladashe niruchiro ramavani rama spuradamalapanke ruhamuka surendrar aradhya Shruti Ganashika Gita Charito Jagannatha Swami Nayana patagami bhavatu me ratarudho kachan Patimilita Bhudeva patalai stuti pradur bhavam Pratiparamupakarna sadaya daya sindhurbandhu Sakala jagatam sindhu sutaya Jagannatha Swami Nayana patagami bhavatu me param brahma pida Kuvalaya dalot pula nayano nivasi Niladro nihita charano nanta shirasi rasananti radha sarasavapura lingana shuko Jagannatha Swami Nayana patagami bhavatu me navayache rajam Nachakanakamane kavibhavam nayache hamramyam sakala janakamyam varavadum sadakale kale Pramatapatina Gita Charito Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagame Bhavatu Me Haratam Samsaram Trutataram Asaram Surapate Haratam Papanam Vitatim Aparam Yadavapate Ahodine Nate Nihita Charano Nishchitamidam Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me Jagannatashtakam Punyam Ya Patit Prayata Shuchi Sarva Papa Vishuddhatma Vishnu Lokam Sagacchati Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Devi Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Subhadra Devi Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Thanks for suggesting that we do that, Indira Mataji, because I wasn't thinking of doing that, and I'm really happy you suggested it, because it's really nice to focus on Jagannath throughout this whole time. So, Hare Krishna, everybody. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe. Hare Krishna. Jai Jagannath.